How's everything going, guys? My name is The Quacken, and this is my coaster channel. Today I'm going to be ranking all the RMCs that I've experienced. I've ridden 12 RMC coasters across the US, so I still have 2 left to go before getting to all the ones operating in America. Those being Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion and Railblazer at California's Great America. However, I've ridden a good amount of RMCs to put together a solid list for you guys. And before I go any further, just note that all these are great rides, and they're all in my top 50, so a low ranking is by no means a knock on any of these coasters. But bringing up the rear at number 12 is New Texas Giant at Six Flags Over Texas. I rode this in 2016, and more recently in September of 2020, and it's my most recent ride that made me realize this truly is the weakest RMC. The layout isn't very inspiring, how it focuses on overbanks rather than inversions and airtime, but there's still a good amount of airtime to go around. Plus, the pacing is pretty lackluster, which is why this ride ranks last. Still, there's plenty of good airtime moments, and it's a long ride, which is something I can't say about every coaster on this list. At number 11, I have the Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. This often gets tagged as the worst RMC, and prior to this year I would have agreed. But looking back on it, its layout is more diverse than New Texas Giant, and it pulls off the inversions better than most RMCs out there. There's a lot to be desired with the airtime, but it's still solid for normal coaster standards, but compared to other RMCs, it's pretty weak. Plus the drop isn't very good, mainly because it's a twisted drop, so those are some of the reasons it ranks towards the bottom of the list for me. At number 10, I have Goliath at Six Flags Great America. This ride is fast and furious, and the first drop is huge. It's actually the world's largest drop on a wooden coaster, and it's the first of 3 Woodies on this list. However, it's such a short ride that I can't overlook that fact. Plus, there's only one real airtime moment after the first drop. Despite that, the inversions are unique for a wooden coaster. I'm just hoping this ride doesn't get too rough, as it's been quite a few years since I've ridden it. Coming in at number 9 is Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This was my first ever single rail coaster, and I had high expectations for it. And it's safe to say that this ride met those expectations, as these Raptors have the best pacing of any coaster model I've ever seen. It's a very short ride, so it loses points there, plus the over-the-shoulder harnesses are not comfortable in the slightest bit. But it's such an aggressive and smooth ride that I had to leave it out of the basement. Coming in at number 8, I have Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia. This ride became the subject to many memes when the layout was first revealed, as it looked like Six Flags cheaped out on the layout, but once people started riding it, it got rave reviews. The ejector airtime is very strong on this coaster, but it's only in the middle to lower tier of RMCs for me because it is very, very short. At number 7, I have Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. My first ride on this was in May of 2016, and I immediately thought this was the top 5 coaster. It has fallen a little bit since then, but only to my top 15. It's still a great ride with strong airtime and a great layout, but good lord, it crawls on its third lap around the course, with no forces except maybe some hang time on the final inversion. It's a much longer ride, which is why it ranks above Twisted Cyclone for me, but there are some significant cons to this ride that are hard to overlook. At number 6, I have Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. When Magic Mountain announced they were going to convert the massive dueling wooden coaster, Colossus, into a hybrid, people were initially upset because apparently Colossus was a great classic Woody. But ultimately, this was a godsend for the park. Every element on this ride pops, and the amazing airtime on the blue side is fantastic. I loved this ride so much that I rode it 12 times over the course of 2 days in July of 2016. Granted, I only dueled 3 times, which is why it ranks only at number 6 on this list. But dueling makes this one of the greatest coaster experiences of all time. And not dueling is still fun. it just doesn't have the same effect. Now we've made it to the top 5. And at number 5, I have Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Now, this was the first hybrid to feature an inversion. And man, what a fantastic ride this is. It's not the longest ride in the world, and it has some pacing issues on top of the quarry wall. But the epic first drop and the final cliff dive into the tunnel makes this a top 5 RMC for me. The park was staple happy when I rode this in September of 2020, so it dropped outside of my overall top 10, but it's still hanging on to a top 5 spot on this list for now. At number 4, I have Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom. I did not expect this small-scale RMC to be as aggressive as it actually was. My first rides in June of 2016 weren't quite as good, as the airtime wasn't nearly as strong. Thanks to the new wheel design in August of 2020, I was shocked how good the airtime truly was on this coaster. The Trick Track Double Up absolutely launched me out of my seat on both rides this year, so I had to move it up in my rankings. And believe me when I say this has some of the most aggressive airtime of any coaster in the world. Coming in at number 3 is my home park RMC, Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City. This is the one RMC I probably like more than I should, but I also may be biased because it's at my home park. However, every element on Outlaw Run is phenomenal, from the amazing first drop to the 2 wave turns, the ejector airtime moments, to the insane double barrel roll finale. There's just a lot to love about Outlaw Run. Yes, it's a short ride, and it's gotten a little rough in a few spots, but I can't get enough of this ride, which is why I've ridden it about 100 times, and more than any other coaster in the world. Now, my top 2 coasters on this list are also my top 2 overall coasters. So ranking these 2 was pretty hard, but ultimately, this is what I came up with. And coming in at number 2, I have Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. People talk about this like it's the greatest roller coaster in the world, and after riding this for the first time in August of 2019, I completely understand why. Even the GOAT, who you've seen in a few of my vlogs, agreed this coaster was phenomenal. It's a stupid long ride, strong airtime, inversions, a 90-degree drop, glass smooth. And did I mention strong airtime? Steel Vengeance has more airtime than any other coaster in the world. Cedar Point and RMC truly blessed the coaster world with this creation. But there's just one RMC I like more. And at number 1, it has to be Lightning Rod at Dollywood. There's a few reasons I have this ranked higher than Steel Vengeance. Beautiful setting, strong ejector airtime, insane level of intensity, and breakneck pacing. Steel Vengeance can only claim it has strong ejector air, and it's a fairly intense ride, but not even close to Lightning Rod's level. Lightning Rod is also the world's fastest wooden coaster, and the world's only launched Woody, and given the problems it's had, it probably will stay that way. So Lightning Rod definitely wins in the uniqueness factor. The only thing that I would say Steel Vengeance has the nod in is in reliability. I do love both of these rides to death. I really do. But ultimately, those few factors that I mentioned earlier give Lightning Rod the edge for me. Before I sign off, I want to give a big shout out to Patrick of Coaster Fanatics for allowing me to use his Lightning Rod point of view video. He has some great point of view videos and some good coaster content in general on his channel. So if you haven't checked out his channel, definitely click the link down below. It's always nice when other enthusiasts are nice enough to allow you to use their stuff, but I do recommend asking before using it. So that's how I rank up the RMC coasters I've ridden. As you can probably imagine, they are indeed my favorite manufacturer, and I love every one of their rides. Let me know what you think of this list in the comments below, and also be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, and you love theme parks and roller coasters as much as I do, please consider subscribing. those are the best ways to show support for the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.